Cool. Well, there's a few of us here, and I don't want to waste your time. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we'll get this thing rolling. First of all, welcome. This is only our second time putting this together. It's still new to all of us. We're not trying to replace Divi Nation or anything like that. This is more of a live interaction type thing where this is pretty much all unscripted. So we're gonna just have some cool conversation, and we want you guys to ask questions and anything you guys want to ask. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and have Olga, who's our guest host today, share a little bit about her background and what she wants to share about her business, and hopefully that'll give you some ideas as to what kind of questions to ask. So, Olga, welcome, and why don't you share with us a little bit more about who you are and what you're doing?
Yeah, hi Geno, thank you. Yeah, I'm really feeling on the spot right now. So, yeah, my name is Olga. I'm married, have two kids, two dogs, a cat, and a husband, which is like a third kid. I live in essential Queensland in Australia. It's a little bit regional, but in a kind of smallish city. And I have been doing web design for last 3 years as a business, and started about 4 years ago.
Nice. Wow. Wow. So we've started pretty much relatively around the same time.
Yeah, and look how far you came.
Both of us. Both of us. I've seen your work.
Yeah, I'm have to say I'm very actually happy where I am, and feeling quite proud of what I achieved in this short time, and at such a late age.
Yeah, that's cool.
And there is still, lots of room for improvement, and yeah, a long way to go. But I feel like I had a good start so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say we're living in a time where there's a lot of opportunity for what we do. It's just amazing. It seems like this work is really booming. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Yes, I have to say, my husband was telling I should have started this 15 years ago, because 15 years ago I kind of said that I would like to do a web design, but then not sure why I took the other way, and I went into administration, and then I went into having kids, and then more kids, and not until just about 4 years ago then I thought, no, I really want to do web design, and by this time it feels like almost everyone is doing it. When 15 years ago it was really quiet, and when you had to find a web developer, you had to search really high and low.
Yeah, right.
But no, it still feels good, and yeah, I have plenty of work. At the moment I work more with local businesses, and just this year now started to expand a bit more. But I started in our local community and feel very comfortable just working with community. Our community is very small. Like, I'm living in a town with about 35 to 40,000 people. It is the city is very industrial. We probably have more factories in one city than any other city on the planet. So
Wow.
when you drive at night time, there is lots of industrial lights everywhere. It's definitely very bright. And yeah, because of all big industry in a city, it is lots of small businesses that have to accommodate all these big industries. So there is definitely lots of work for anyone, not just a web developer. And I have to say, I've been very lucky so far to build websites for local businesses without actually doing much advertising. Like, once you work with one business, they all talk. Like, all businesses business people, they're quite connected. So, and it's nice to do a good job, because once you do a good job and you've got a good communication and a relationship, then yeah, they pretty much do advertising for me.
Oh, that's cool.
Best word of mouth was the biggest marketing so far.
Right, the word of mouth. Yeah, absolutely. Have you? Let me ask you this: have you yet done any kind of like paid advertising or anything like that, like a newspaper or magazines or anything like that?
Um, no, I haven't. We do have a group, Gladstone Classifieds, where businesses, and not just businesses, any people can just post anything they want to sell, to buy, yeah, to advertise. I did post in that, would be probably more than 2 years ago, just to kind of get a bit more known. But no, haven't done any paid advertising as yet. However, last year our school did. Every once a year, the school does a big fundraising, and I was one of their sponsors. And by sponsoring them, basically, I had to provide some sort of pack or something that they can raffle out. And in that way, yeah, my name was on a sponsors list and in all the flyers and such. And I did their flyers as well, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah. So what I did is, as a prize, because there is nothing I really can give, I give a basic web design package, and they raffled it out. And yeah, I'm just about to start doing that. So the person who won it, he was a bit busy, but he did contact me straight away. And I'm just about to do a free website for a nice local financial business.
Nice, nice. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, nothing.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think Reed brings up a great question, and he brings up the fact that in his very small country, that most people think that doing a website does not give so much work, so they don't pay so much. What do you think about that? You talk about you live in a great community where there's lots of work. Um, how would you have you worked? You mentioned to me the other day that I'll answer that for Ben. Ben, we're going to be here for at least the hour, at least till 5, and we'll see how it goes. But you said you recently, you've done some work in other countries. How did that come about? Or getting work in countries where people do value your price range and your work. How did you get that job in Sweden and in Mexico?
Uh, well, yes, I do. So now, I've got just two international clients. One is in Sweden, and one, I actually believe they're not in Mexico. I believe they're in the US, but they have a business in Mexico. And I haven't asked the person from with Mexico business how they found me. The communication with them wasn't as often as I would like to, but it was very clear, and the emails are very clear, but very much business-like. Just we talk about web design, not much other questions. The person from Sweden actually found me on a Divi Facebook group in the not the very big one, the one that Divi Help and Share, Divi Extra Help and Share, that group. So he joined it, then yeah, not quite sure which comment or exactly what I posted that he liked, but after that, yeah, he contacted me and he asked if I'll be interested in doing his website. So I do have a client in that group, so I try not to post anything about his website yet.
He might be listening. So he sounds like a great guy.
He actually really is. The only down part is that the only time we can find to communicate, and I have to say, I really enjoy communicating with him. His English is excellent. He is such a nice person to talk to, and he's also a very good-looking person to talk to, and very young. No, I can't complain about that part at all. And but the only time we can find time to communicate is my 4 o'clock in the morning, which is his 8 o'clock, I believe, in the evening. So I do have to get up early on the time that we scheduled our Skype meeting, and yeah, we usually go for about good 2 3 hours.
Oh wow, wow. So yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're not able to communicate as much, huh? So I would say too that it's amazing the resources we have these days, like Skyping and whatnot, And like this tool right here makes working internationally just so much easier than it was even just like say 3 or 4 years ago. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, agree.
Yeah, it's amazing. I never thought I'd be Skyping with people all over the world when I first started doing this, and I don't know. You know what's really interesting is I recently did a Facebook advertising. I see Ree's got a question. I'll just share this real quick. I was experimenting with some Facebook advertising recently, and I hit the countries that visit my site most, and that I thought where the economy would where they'd appreciate the cost of my work. And so I didn't hit every country. But then I noticed that I had a lot of visitors from countries I didn't have on the Facebook advertisement, like the Philippines and a couple of other places. So I added the Philippines on a site on one of my blog posts about. It was one of my free tutorials. It wasn't Monterey Premier advertising, but it was for the Divi tutorials, and I think I only put 20 US dollars, and it got like over 174,000 likes or something like that from people in the Philippines. And I think what it is what's really neat is the people in countries where the economy is much lower are realizing that they could sell their services to people outside of their own country and at international rates. And what an exciting thing that is, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. No, actually, the one thing that really kicked me in my butt to start web design business was a workshop I went to. The workshop was not about web design as such. It was more about how to make a passive income by buying and selling websites, basically flipping websites. It was a 2-day workshop on the Gold Coast. The people who organized it, they was just so energetic. It was like being in a room with this extremely extroverted people that just bring so much energy. But strangely enough, when I left that conference, the 2-day conference or workshop or whatever it was called, it didn't, flipping websites, the idea of flipping websites never stuck with me. But they did actually give lots of good points about business in general and how to operate. And yeah, like the one thing that I kind of, like some information just goes over your head and some information sticks with you for some reason. And the one that really sticks with me is that, yeah, you can outsource. And yeah, people in other countries, because of different currencies and such, you can get them to help you. And it will be more efficient way of running business.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to stick to your country, to your town, to anything to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Ree's comment there. Uh, you got paid a bed for your dog as a payment for some advice, huh? That's pretty cool. Um, it's something. When I set out with the Divi blog tutorial, I never expected it to have the kind of traffic that it gets and whatnot. But I know what you mean, Ree. But I have to tell you, and then I've seen your helpful advice in a lot of the groups. And Ree's comment was that he initially asked, most of his work is done for a web coach. The web coach gets clients and recreates the websites, but he wants to expand his own clientele. And Cody, suggested and recommended, as we've talked about before, is getting in there and actually helping in the groups where I got my start, and like Cody says, and then I know Ree's been doing that for some time as well. But really, that's like you said, you got your international client through your comments in the Facebook group, right, Olga?
Well, I believe so. Yeah, because we didn't get too much into that conversation. But yeah, when I asked him, how did you actually find me? He said, oh yeah, I saw your post or something in a Facebook group. And then I checked which Facebook it was, and yeah, I know which Facebook he's in.
Cool, cool. So let me ask you this, Olga. I haven't checked yet. Do you blog at all?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I always want to. I have to say, I do not have time.
Yeah,
Few things
that's the biggest
I
thing.
would like to do, but yeah, just need probably 48-hour day, or I just need to clone myself, and then it will happen.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Reed's comment: finishing a website, start doing some advertisement in Facebook and doing some tutorials. Yeah, Reed, do you have? You've done some tutorials already, haven't you? Just curious. As folks are typing here, I know that there's so much room for people to join in on blogging and providing tutorials and tips, and I really think it's hard to find the time, and it's really hard to come up with a step-by-step tutorial when we're all scrambling for work or whatever it is to blog, to take time to write good content. But it really does have a big impact. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. And people who do comment on a Facebook group, like you do notice them straight away. Like I knew Rui's name, for a long time before we actually became Facebook friends. And yeah, people who do help other people, you just see their name so often, it becomes so familiar. You almost feel like you know them.
Yeah, right.
And that feeling of kind of knowing them, it builds trust. So once
Yeah.
you see people helping all the time, you can trust them. So like I would have no issues now to ask you to help me with something and give you my login details or something if you require, because there is this trust behind it. Like you know what people have been doing, yeah. Even so I don't know you, I feel like I know you.
Yeah, right. I totally agree. I see these just right here as we're chatting, and I see the people that are in this group. It's just a very unique community of like-minded people, and when we were talking yesterday, and I said, that I'm just a big nerd, and you're like, I think we all are. That's why we all feel so comfortable. And I think you nailed it. We're so like-minded. This is great.
Well, yeah, I feel like I'm the biggest nerd ever. This is like sitting in front of a computer and I'm so nervous. I'm just so much more comfortable with pushing pixels than talking in front of everyone.
Yeah, I know. I know. Nerds unite. Amen, Robert. Okay, so I totally agree. I totally agree. I rather just. That's why I got it. That's why I love the white label stuff. I don't even have to deal with clients anymore. I can, just code, code, code. Okay, so so my business partner and I have just relaunched our latest website and are planning on providing a weekly blog. We've managed to put a few posts in the queue, so if we're short on time, one week we have content there already. After just a single post, we've noticed a huge increase in traffic, which has been great. All of that is just from the Facebook groups. Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing um, what a few blog posts will do. Absolutely. In fact, I'm going to try to pull up a graphic here. I wonder if I can share images. I don't know if I can share images. It doesn't look like it, does it?
No, I'm not sure. I can't see any buttons for images either.
Images. I was going to show you a chart I have of, the traffic I've gotten since I first started in 2014 to how many views I get, a month now. I mean, I was in June of I was getting 300 hits a month. Then August 1,500, and then this is in 2014, and then in like beginning of 2015 I was up to 10,000. Then in April it was 20,000, and then it was 22,000. In June of 2015 it was 24,000. This January I was at 34,700 views that month. Last month 41,000 views of people just coming through, and it's amazing. It's been great. Let's see here. Curious, the first person that helped me and I Was Sarah Oates? Yeah, Sarah Oates. Yeah, Sarah's a great person. She's you and Sarah are friends, as well, right, Olga? You guys have communicated a bit.
Yeah, I joined the Divi group Facebook just over a year ago, and about a week or two after I joined, I saw this post on a Facebook group that says Sarah Oates will do Essential Grid tutorial. And by then, I already used Essential Grid, but I wanted to know more about it. So the first time I saw Sarah was actually when she did YouTube videos or tutorials for that group. Actually, it was like a Skype meeting, and I was on the Skype. And at the end of the meeting, I asked Sarah, I've got more questions. Do you mind if I can contact you? And she said yes, and send me her details. And so since then, yeah, we've been, Facebook friends. We talked on the phone once, and I have to say, she is just so lovely. No, I have
Yeah.
to pinch sometimes. It's like how many nice people I met through this group. It's just awesome.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. John has a good question, Olga. He says, but blogs are aimed at nerds. Will this convert to business? Maybe not white label. What do you think?
Well, I'll just tell from my personal experience, and my experience in building design websites comes mostly from working with local businesses so far. I mean, now I've got a few more, but I'm still feel more comfortable with local businesses. And I have to say, unfortunately, the business people who is running their own business, perhaps, yeah, they do not read blogs. And so, yeah, if you are looking for a job with to actually build website for other businesses, perhaps writing blogs may not necessarily, in my opinion, lead to too many leads in that direction. But I do think, yeah, by writing blogs, like it definitely helps you, Jenna. Like you wrote blogs, you that kind of gives not just gives impression, but that just shows you that you are not just capable, but you got knowledge. You need to know to have lots of knowledge and experience to actually write nice, good blog posts and teach other people what to do. And I think if agencies notice that, then they will be more than happy to give you a job. Then, if you're just looking to find work as building websites for businesses, then I'm not sure if blogging gonna help. In actual fact, it's not rare that usually you give when you get a client and you discuss their website and what you want their website to look like. One of the questions that I ask is, can you show me some other websites that you like the look of? Not necessarily from the same type of business, just any website that you think is a nice looking website in your opinion. And it's not rare that I just hear back them saying, oh, I don't actually look at other websites. And that brings back to like, yeah, they're busy people, they're running businesses, they may be looking at websites that they necessarily they have to look for, like for their business, but they are not wasting their time searching web designs or just looking for websites like what we do because this is our job and this is what we like. So I don't know, John, if that answers my question, or I mean your question, but yeah, I don't think blogging is a bad thing, and especially if you like blogging, then why not do it?
Yeah, good point. Great points, Olga. I do appreciate that. I would say, and just on top of that, though, it may help in like say your blog's not geared towards um, tutorials, towards nerds like us. For example, when I launched Monterey Premiere, the reason was because of the Ketos blogs, all my clients were coming from Divi users, which was great. But I didn't want to keep working on other people's sites that they've already built, and then they would just call me and want me to work on their project. I wanted to build sites from scratch, and I started finding myself just getting work that already existed. So I was losing my ability to be creative for a while there. So I launched Monterey Premiere and had a good chat with Andrew, and I was thinking about moving my tutorials over to Monterey Premiere so I can get that traffic. But he said, but if you're trying to market the local community, why would you put a bunch of tutorials on there? And I said, good point. What do you recommend? He said, why don't you put blog posts about the businesses in your community? And that way you start attracting local hits. And I said, interesting. I'll do that. I'll start featuring different businesses and organizations and some professional tips. And it started to get traffic, but I started having so much fun with that I turned that into Monterey Bay Fun and made it a magazine website. But anyways, there was potential in that idea. You don't have to necessarily blog, say, about Divi or anything like that. It could be, about your community. I don't know, just an idea, something to think about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Before I got into websites as a as a work. Sorry if I'm not talking properly. I'm really nervous, guys.
No, you're doing great, Olga. I can totally. Your English is perfect.
Thanks, Jenna. So originally when I just started with the design, I did build a blog. I built a blog for my husband. He's a big on blogging. And I built one for me. I bought a web domain name Place to Dine, and I decided I'm gonna blog about food because as a mom, that's what you do a lot, whether you like it or not. And I've got some nice recipes. I actually ended up doing it, but the idea, I like the idea of blogging. Perhaps, hopefully, one day I'll do it. I have to say, look at my schedule now. It's not gonna happen in the next 6 months.
Bless you.
What using to track views? John, it might be actually a question to you. What do you use to track your views on your website?
What do I use to track the views? So I have Google Analytics set up. So when to be honest with you, I don't get very deep into that. Not because I don't think it's good, but because it wasn't like really my super strategy, and I wanted to be very strategic about it. So I didn't really get too involved with Google Analytics. I'm still not a pro at Google Analytics. I just know the basics. But the tool I'm using and what you see on the transcript, if you guys have access to the transcript, I posted a link, and that is out of Jetpack. It's their stats, site stats option in Jetpacks. And what's really neat is it not only gives you different views, but it separates the how many people came to your site and how many people how many pages they viewed. So I might have had only 778 hits come in yesterday, people that came in from different places, but 1,700 pages were actually viewed. So they stuck around. They didn't just go to one page. And it also shows me where they went, where they clicked out of, what search engine terms they used to get to it. I can even, I'll post another picture here. And let me take a screenshot. I'll just kind of show you guys. I'm going to show you my back end here, over my website back end. Let's see here. Okay, hold on. Chart. Save. So yeah, that's a Jetpack, which I use to track my stats. And I'm going to post that again here.
Actually, Jenna, do you like to use a Jetpack?
I use it, not on every single project, but there's so much in it that I don't use. I know it's a bit of a resource hog, but I do like it. I do like it. So I just posted a little bit more detailed view of what you see using Jetpack site stats. You can break it down to see what country in Google, so you can see. And what I like about this is it shows me that I'm getting more traffic from Google than I am from Facebook these days, and that wasn't always the case. Most of my hits were coming from the Facebook groups, but now I'm able to see that most of my hits are coming from Google search, and I can see which countries they're coming from. So it's just like Google Analytics, but not as intense. And I see some more questions regarding that, but someone did ask me early on up here. I just want to answer that, and it was Ben. Do you find that you have to be specific about the content in terms of SEO? I would say it's all organic, Ben. I'm not an SEO guy by any means. It's all organic, and people are it's starting to come up. In fact, it's probably one of the slowest sites out there, and whatnot. So, gosh, okay, there's some good questions here. What do you use? What do you use, Olga?
In my early days, I did use Jetpack. When I found that there are really good things about it, and the other reason why I used it is because it's built by Automatic, and which is a very trusted company. Well, if it's built automatic, I use it. And then I started read lots of art that was saying how slow your website down and there's such energy hog and such resource hog. So I stopped. I have to say, I don't use it now because I try to do website fast as fast as possible and using as less plugins as I can. And so far, not made it.
Sarah, is that your family in the background we hear? It's okay, sir. On the bottom left-hand corner, there should be a little mute icon next to your.
Hi.
Glad to have you on board, Sarah. I was wondering what that was, and then I saw interweb and showed a little blinking thing, and I saw so. But welcome aboard. It's good. We were talking about you earlier. I don't know if you heard us or not. So everybody loves you. All right. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure people can hear you there, Olga. Keep going. I'm sorry to cut you off like that.
No, sir. I think I kind of finished, but yeah, just in case no one heard the last thing I said. Yeah, I don't use Jetpack any longer because I don't really had a need to use it. I try to build a website as lean and use the least plugin as possible, and yeah, just didn't need Jetpack lately, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there that's you don't need. It's handy when you're just starting out, but then you realize a lot of the stuff that you can do yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. There is comments. Interesting. My site is on the top of your list of refers. Yep, I get a lot of sites from your Divi Tuts directory, Chatter. A good job on that. John says, Geno, that does sound interesting and relevant because it uses blogs to connect with your local businesses. Oh, yes, that was in that comment about maybe blogging about your community and businesses in your community. Yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
One question from Rui. He says, yeah, what I do, what we do about speeding up websites and compression, and what do we use? So first of all, I save all images in the Photoshop with about 70% quality, and I do save for web to make them as soon as possible, and then I oh gosh, give me this English word, please. Compress them. Yeah, I think that's the word. I compress them with image optimization, and yeah, I'll try all images to be under the 100 kilobyte. The background images, the really big one, if I need them to be nice and sharp, I allow, I feel like for me it's fine if they are over 200, but anything more than 300, I don't like it. And I do use auto-optimize. I use once.
Oh, yes.
And there is another plugin, just let me have a look. There was one.
Auto-optimize.
Yeah. No, there was another one, sorry. It will take me a little while to find it. And I can't remember the name of it on top of my head, so I may just find it later when Geno will talk and post it. Yeah, but yeah, there is a few nice ones that just basically optimize all the code, smoosh it, whatever name you call it. Actually, I see that Tammy Heaton is here, and I know that she is really good with working side speed.
Yes.
So, Tammy, you want to join in? Do you want to turn your mic on and tell us what you do for making websites super fast?
Yeah, if you feel like.
Sorry, Tammy, didn't want to put you on a spot, but I know you're really good at it. I'm so curious about it.
All right, here she comes.
Okay, this is nerve-wracking. It's been a lot of experimentation for me in terms of, at one point I just decided I really wanted to be good at it, and I'm really demanding with myself about trying to get things down to 1 second. And the first thing I do is basically smush the images and smush the images some more. I don't batch my images. I do each one individually so that I make sure that they're both as small as humanly possible, but also that they look good because I'm picky. And then basically I load on plugins, and over time, I'm really bummed that W3 Total Cache has what I think you guys might agree are kind of reliability issues lately.
Yes.
It's been bumming me out, and they didn't update for like 7 months, and people were starting to go, have they abandoned the plugin? Like, what's going on? And then right after they actually updated it, I had a client come to me and say that everything in their site except the sidebar had vanished.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So over the last 2 weeks, I've totally abandoned W3, and I've been experimenting. It was a really good plugin, is the thing. It was really good, but I'll tell you guys, I tried Hummingbird. I'm not super impressed with it, but like everything I've tried so far is okay. And you guys are gonna think my current method is absolute madness. There's a new plugin. Oh God, I should have the names of these pulled up. I'm not quite prepared. There's one called like WP Performance Booster that has quite a lot of options. No, that one has like 3 options, and it's really simple. And then there's another one called Speed Booster, and that one has a lot of options for like moving things to the footer and deferring caching and all that kind of stuff. I've been playing with both of those. I've been playing with Hummingbird. 2 standards that I always use are gzip Ninja and BJ Lazyload. I put those on everything. I use WP Optimize, and I use it frequently to clean things up. That I find tends to really help things. And my latest method, I'll tell you guys, and if you look at my site right now, A, it's like in the middle of QA, so it's a mess, but B, I have all the optimization turned off, so it's loading in like 14 seconds right now. It's bad. But the way that I did it, and it's crazy, the only thing I could do to replicate W3's effectiveness basically was to pile on every single one of those plugins, which is insane. And I had to trial and error it quite a bit because some things I would turn on and they would kill Essential Grid. Other things I would turn on and they would kill the Divi Portfolio module. And it was kind of like a trial and error process. And that's a horrible answer, I realize. But I got it from 14 seconds to 2 seconds by doing that, which is crazy.
That is crazy awesome.
Yeah, that's fun.
So I can post more info in the groups if there's a group that we post at after these with some of these new plugins I've been playing with. If you guys are curious, they're interesting for sure.
Yeah, that would be great. I would say let's utilize Chathura's Divi theme. What's the name of the group again? Divi theme tutorials group as the follow-up, as he is hosting this. Maybe any follow-up questions we can post in that group. Divi theme tutorials.
Cool beans.
Yeah, cool. Thanks so much, Tammy. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm like, what? Me? What?
Okay,
Okay, I'm going to pass on mute now.
Okay, thanks.
thank you, Tony. He's asking if anyone is using Cloudflare. I admit I have not used Cloudflare, so can't say anything about it. Jenna, did you ever use Cloudflare?
I'm using I switched over to SiteGround recently, and I did try Cloudflare with my old host, but I won't even share the name of the host because it was horrible, and you guys will probably stop going to my blog if you know who it was. But SiteGround does have their they put all the images on their own CDN, and it helps tremendously. I don't even know the name of their CDN off the top of my head, but it's made a huge difference for me. And Geno.co just runs so much faster than it was before, both on the front end and back end. I've used WP Rocket in the past, but SiteGround also has their own caching tool, so I don't use it anymore for myself. But if anybody I'm working on a project with, I always recommend WP Rocket. That seems to be a pretty solid tool. But ever since talking to Tammy these last few weeks, I have a whole list of plugins to try. Is it Cloudflare? Imran just shared that SiteGround's package does use Cloudflare CDN. So yes, I guess that's who my CDN is.
Yes, I do actually. Yeah. I'm with SiteGround as well, so happy with them.
Yes.
Actually, another thing that I don't think Tammy mentioned that I use for speeding up website is actually got recommended to me by Colin Falcon, and he recommended to use Falcon Engine, which comes as part of WordFence security. And I use it and it does work actually. I did test it, I don't remember numbers exactly, but I did test speed on a site before turning on Falcon Engine, and then I checked it after, and it definitely gives extra 2-4 points.
Wow, that's cool. What was the name of the kit? Falcon?
Falcon Engine. So if you install the WordFence security plugin and then go to performance option, there is one little thing that says Falcon Engine, and all you need to do is just turn it on.
Okay, I thought I've seen that before somewhere. I couldn't remember where. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so if you WordFence, you already have it. You just have to activate it.
Ah, very cool. Very cool. Okay, let's see here. Going through the list of questions.
Interesting. I would like to hear actually, John. He said that he dropped WordFence because it was slowing down the website. Actually, I never thought about WordFence slowing down website. Like for me, security is very important, and that's the WordFence plugin is usually the first plugin that goes on any website. John, I'm actually interested to know. So, what do you use for security now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Security, that's a big one, especially these days, man. It just seems like more and more questions or more and more hack sites are showing up in the forums. I use WordFence as well, and I know it does slow down the site a little bit, but I'd be curious to see what other people's recommendations are for security if you're using some. John says, my security is regular updates and regular backup. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Ree says, I agree with you, Olga. We have to sacrifice some seconds for security. I agree. I do not want to lose everything on my blog.
You're doing so much faster than me.
I found both WordFence and IDs were similar, but either is essential in my eyes. Yeah. Tammy says WordFence actually quarantines some spooky files that snuck in through Backup Buddy. Huh, interesting. Really? I'd be curious to know what that's all about. One of the things I started doing is I created a separate, I have a separate dev server that's live online. And for my own personal sites, not only are they getting backed up, but I back them up and install them on the dev server so that just in case something happens, I always have a live, actually running site sitting on my dev server. Of course, it's closed up from the search engines and all that, but yeah, I do that. Okay, good question. We've jumped over into backups now. This is getting good. All right, so Olga, who do you use for backups? What is your recommend? What do you do?
Yeah, okay, so this is what I do. There was another question previously. I think Steve asked what plugins do I use. And Steve, yes, I do work with Divi this day mostly. There is a few websites I built with, well, actually one website I built with Avada. And the company I built it for, I do jobs for them all the time. Like, I look after the website to the point that if they write a blog post, they actually email blog to me and I upload it to their website. They don't do any jobs on it at all. They don't have time and they're not interested. So, yeah, and before I found elegant themes, I did use other themes that, yeah, just from Envato Marketplace. But yeah, since I found, or discovered, I like to say, elegant themes, I do like to use Divi a lot now. And I'm so comfortable with it now that I don't really look for anything at the moment. In terms of backup, my favorite backup plugin is Updraft Plus Backup Restore. Every now and then I see other people having an issue with it. So far I've been so lucky, I actually never had an issue, so I keep using it and it works for me just fine. I back up to a Dropbox, and yeah, if client, like I have a reseller package with a SiteGround, so I don't host absolutely every client's website, and especially sometimes clients come to me to redesign website and they're happy with where their website hosted already. I don't encourage them to change, to move it. Like if they're happy, it's fine by me. So, and I lost it. Okay, so basically, if I host it, and I host with SiteGround, the SiteGround actually do backups as well, a daily backup. But I do like to have a double, so they backup on a server and I also backup in a Dropbox. So if something happens, I can access either one of them. In terms of other plugins that I kind of, like, I don't actually build website from scratch. I do have my own duplicator file that I just, unzip and the website is ready. So the plugins that I always have is one would be WordFence Security. Another one that I like to use just while I'm building is VP Sweep. So once I build everything, I just run VP Sweep and I get rid of all the rubbish on it. And then sometimes I uninstall it if I don't look after the website. If I do, I leave it there for maintenance reasons. I do have Akismet, and Akismet, not quite sure if I pronounce it correctly. And,
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah. Another one that I like to use is Edit Also Slack, especially for people who do blogs. And I have a few websites, like personal trainers websites and others that do blogging. And what's Audit Also Slack, Author Slack? Yeah, Jenna, can you say it correctly?
Which one? The
Author Slug, yeah?
Yeah, Author Slug.
Yeah. So
Yes.
basically, I actually quite surprised that the WordPress doesn't have it built in. But if you go to a blog post and click on the author, in the Slack, it will actually have your username, which that makes it easier for people who want to hack your website to get your username, and then they only have to guess password. So what also Slack does, it replaces the username for the author with whatever you want it to be, so you can actually put just your name or something. So in a way, I use this plugin as extra security, especially on the websites with blogs.
That's a great tip right there. I like that. I never thought about that.
I used to use I use Yoast SEO for SEO, and I used to use Yoast Analytics. I don't do anymore. I just copy a Google Analytics code and just put it into a Divi into integration section. Where like you go to Divi options integrations, and there is actually a place where you can just put your Google Analytics script in there. to tackle the Google Analytics data. So that's another one less plugin. So basically that's it. The plugin that I really do like is an Essential Grid, and I love Slider Revolution. I have been using a Revolution slider for basically 4 years, and it's my favorite. I just love it.
That's cool.
I know it's not everyone's favorite, and I know it has in the past with security and such, but it's been a long time ago, so if you still have an issue with Rev Slider security, you really should just look how often then you updated it. You know, if it's an issue with security, it's actually an issue with the developer for not updating it on time, and not with the actual plugin anymore.
Yeah, that's right. You know, it's interesting. We talk about excessive plugin and theme load, and you said it as well. You know, you try to keep as slim as possible your WordPress site. With every project and with every client, I'm always on like, I don't know if you've ever seen that American show Seinfeld, and there's this guy called the Soup Nazi, and he's always telling people, you know, he doesn't like whether they can have soup or not. No soup for you. And I tell my clients, no plugins for you, because you know, my clients will just, you know, they'll have hundreds of plugins in there. But I'll be honest, I am so horrible on my own sites. I get so lazy to figure it out how to do it myself. I'll throw a plugin on there, and so my sites are probably the worst. But I agree, and I like your recommendations. That's some good stuff. Yeah, I would throw in there. Yeah, I like that, Olga. It would be great if you would be able to post or share, or maybe even in these transcripts, a list of your of those plugins that you just listed. Those are some really cool ones there that I haven't tried yet.
Yeah, sure. I'll do it right now. Yeah, it's not hard because it's not that many.
That's good. That's good. What?
I use all the time is a duplicator, and yeah, like as I said, I don't start any website from scratch. I do have my setup when I built a child theme, and I've got all the plugins installed and configured to how I like it, and then I just, you know, made a package as a duplicator. So every time I build a new site, I just unzip the duplicator files, and yeah, so I don't start from scratch. I already got a setup, and I've got lots of Divi layouts that I use a lot of that I like, and they all in that package as well. So all I have to do is just unpack and yeah, just go over the design.
Yeah, I think that's a very smart tip. I use all-in-one WP import. I came across that earlier or later last year, not too long ago, and I tell you, it has been foolproof for me as far as migrating and backing up, and even very large sites. It's so easy to restore and migrate. I probably use it now 4 or 5 times a day. I'm pushing to my dev server. I get clients all the time that are on GoDaddy or on some poor account, and I don't want to work on it live on their host. So I will install all-in-one, make a copy, so it takes a few minutes, and boom, put a brand new WordPress installation on my dev server and using SiteGround, and then I add that plugin, boom, install it. I have a complete, it's worked flawlessly for me. So I would add that to my recommendations. So if Duplicator or Clone or Backup Buddy doesn't work, try all-in-one WP Migrate. It even does multi-sites and stuff. So that's a fabulous plugin, and I use that more than any other plugin. Cool. Great, the annoying one. There we go, Robert. Thank you. Yeah. Does multi-site cause bloat and slowing down? We'll save that for another Q&A. I don't know about you, but I detest working in multi-site environments. but who am I to say? I guess WordPress.org runs off a multi-site, right? So that's just that I don't know what I'm doing in a multi-site, I guess. There we go, Olga. Thank you for posting that. Let's see, we're moving fast here through these questions, so I know I probably skipped a few here. What do you see as the challenges you will face going forward in the next 12 months? That sounds like a fun question. Olga, you want to go first?
Well, I feel like the biggest challenges right now, I was so terrified of this speaking. It's the hardest thing I've done.
You're doing great. I'm telling you. Guys and girls, is she doing great or what? Try it in here.
I wasn't speaking for compliment. I'm just being honest, actually.
Yeah.
My challenges, what I wanted for this year and next 2 months is my not New Year resolution, but I mean you can call it if you want. My goal for this year is to double my income compared to last year. So that's what I'm trying to work towards too.
Nice. Nice.
So perhaps will include a bit more marketing, a bit more emailing out, a bit more talking to people, and yeah, I'll see how it will go.
That's great. This is going to be a good year for you. I can feel it.
Yeah, actually, I feel the same way, Jenna. Thank you.
You bet. You bet. My challenges, my goals this year. I read an interesting article this morning. Very interesting. And I don't want to jump to conclusions or anything, but so this last week I've been really focusing. I'm one of those guys where my vision and focus will change like within a weekend. And my whole business model will change in a weekend. And I did a whole thing on it and wrote a couple of posts about that recently. But I read an article. Many of you have probably heard of Beaver Builder, one of the early on plug and plays, not one of the originals, obviously. I think Visual Composer was. But Beaver Builder came out, what it was about 4 years ago. And it was developed by a web design agency right here in my area, about an hour north of me, not even that far. And they put together this product, the Beaver Builder. Yeah, the one, Lima was part of their, some kind of, I don't know if he was a board member or what, but yeah, he's buddies with the guys from Beaver Builder. But what I thought was interesting, and it was featured in Inc. magazine this morning, that a year ago, they decided to shut down the web design agency, which was very successful in this area, to focus fully on the product. And that really got me thinking about that. And not that I plan on giving up web design anytime soon, but I'm opening up my marketplace and plugin shop and to other vendors and to products. And I really think one of my biggest challenges is I want to see that monthly income double, whether it's my child names, whether it's I get involved in doing plugins by the end of the year here. I've already been playing with a couple. And so I'm really thinking about what kind of developing more products in addition to design and seeing monthly revenues that aren't based on services start to come in. And that way, maybe I can take a vacation without having to worry about not working. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to this year.
No, that sounds nice. So, what actually, Jenna, what do you think about passive income?
Passive income. Well, that was really one of my goals last year when I decided to jump into the child theme market. Is I really wanted to start to generate more passive income. I make a little bit here and there with the affiliate links on the blog, but up until like a few months ago, not really a whole lot because I only had like Divi and the Bluehost affiliate links on there. So I decided to open that up and to put every Divi developer's affiliate link that has a shop of some sort on the site. Kind of make Kidos.co more community and less about my stuff, although my ads are a little bit prominent on there, of course, as most of you guys have seen. But And I'm doing so with the marketplace. Initially, I was only going to sell my products on there, but I decided to open it up and expand that some more because I really think that there's a place for passive income. And I know they say there's argument that there's no such thing as passive income, which is true. It takes work, but I really want to see that kind of come to fruition this year.
Awesome. Actually, I see that Shampoo Monkey, I'm sure there is a real name to it, I just don't know who it is. He asked a question about what other modules you find yourself using over and over again. So I actually had to open the modules to have a look, and I have to say that there are modules that I actually never ever used ever yet. One of them is audio, another one is circle counter, and I've never yet used a video slider. But all the others I definitely used at least once, and the ones that I use the most would be the call to action and the text module, and an image module.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I'm on the same page with you, Olga. Text module, call to action. I use the button module a lot now. I use the blurb module. Those are the main ones I use the most as well. And the ones I never seem to use, probably the same thing. I think I've used the counter module once, and that was, once, I think, on one site. Craig has...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You go.
No. You go, please.
I just see Craig, no, not Craig, Imranak.
Yeah.
Sorry. Ask what browser do I use. So I prefer Google Chrome, and I like to check on SEO using Firefox. Because Firefox actually has some cool tools for checking out SEO. And so when I do SEO and I'm not quite sure what to use for this and that, I actually just open a website of similar to what I'm building. So if I build a website for steel supplies, I just open websites for another steel supply company and see what do they usually put in a meta description or something like that. And Firefox has a very cool tools for checking meta descriptions and page titles and on that built in.
Good. Yeah, I use both. I probably use Chrome a little bit more often because I just seem to. I started out with Chrome, so all my bookmarks are in Chrome, and I got so many bookmarks. I know it'd be easy to migrate over, but so I use Chrome most often, but I use Fireworks just as often. Chrome seems to be not as solid as it used to be. I don't know if it's because I have 40 browser windows open on 7 monitors, or it's Chrome. But either way, it crashes on me twice a day now, and so I tend to use Firefox. Another weird thing is sometimes Chrome just it doesn't restore cache, and I'll open it up in Firefox and it does. And so I use both. And IE9. I mean, how can anyone not develop with IE9? Sarah can't hear us. I see you in the voice channel. I think I heard you. She's playing around with it. Okay, so Terry uses Firefox as well because it's easier to find style sheets to go directly to JavaScript. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I have found it easier to dig deeper with Firefox, but I'm still just getting familiar with it, even though it's pretty similar.
Yeah, I think it's all the stuff that you're actually familiar with. Once you got with something, that's what you sort of, that's what I tend to use them all the time. And sometimes, I hear people saying, but this is better. And I go in, but, because it's also new territory, I just feel, well, it may be better, but this is what I already know. Sometimes you just need to take that extra step to learn, and when you don't have time or not interested, it just is.
Yeah, I have to agree. When it comes down to it, practicality, I default with what I already know.
Yeah, and I do the same. So there is lots of new stuff that's coming in, and it's all looks so exciting, and I would like to learn one day. But yeah, it's at the same time it's just so comfortable to use in tools that you already know how to use, and you can use just with your eyes closed.
Yeah, that's why I still use Adobe Fireworks, and they don't even make that anymore. Craig asked the question, with the marketplace, will you buck the WordPress plugin theme trend and offer refunds? And that's a very good question. Um, as a marketplace, I'm not going to force, at least at this point, developers to do that. But I don't advertise this, but I do give 30-day refunds to clients. And I've only had to twice, where they contacted me and said, hey, you know, one contacted me and was just, she thought it was going to be, you know, she didn't know anything about WordPress or anything, and she thought it was going to be easier to customize than it was, and so she was pretty flustered after a few days, and so I gave her a full refund. And then today I got a call from a client who said she didn't know that you had to use Divi, which is good. That means my SEO is working. They found my place without even knowing anything about Divi or having a clue what Divi was. But on the other hand, I did offer to give her a refund. They bought it like a week ago. So, question to answer that, Craig, I probably will, as an individual developer, advertise refunds, but I would not force that in the marketplace. And you know, you're right, Craig. I agree. I've called Envato when I first started playing with websites. I called Envato a number of times asking for a refund, and they just give me credits, and I was like, well, you know, that's something to think about. But I don't want to get into credits. That's so confusing and a pain. Yeah, and yeah. Steve had to go, huh? Oh, see you later, Steve. Sorry. Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, let's see.
Yeah, Craig mentioned that sometimes you buy a plugin and it may not be what you were after. And I have to say, I had the same problem. I think everyone has. Cheryl agreed as well. I think we all, it's just a part of the job. Sometimes you buy it, and yeah, it turns out it's not what you were after. Yeah, I have a few plugins that just sit in my folder that I never used. I guess
Yeah,
yeah, it would be nice, yeah, if they would offer a refund or something. But at the same time, I can see how it would be challenging for developers who develop plugins to offer a refund because, um,
because the
yeah,
person's going to figure out how to use it one day and use it. Yeah, yeah, you know, that's one of those things. But I think it would be revolutionary if more and more people did. I have tons of WooCommerce add-ons that I never used because it ended up being nothing what I expected. And I have tons of paid premium plugins actually that I paid for and I never used. So I totally get it. Refunds it is a good thing. It is a good thing. I said, like I told the person today, you just got to promise me that you're not going to give it away or use it anyways. And they're like, oh, no, we promise. But not everybody's going to be honest. But what are you going to do, you know, because everything, when it comes down to it, it's really all just a moral market with GPL and everything. It really is just a matter of, trusting people. That's really what it comes down to. Anybody can fork anything or use anything, and with GPL, you basically can use anything. And so, what's to stop anybody from doing anything? All right. So let's see here. What types of things are focusing? do you find you'd like to have access to? Okay, so Robert, your question, what types of themes or plugins do you find you'd like to have access to? I'm not sure I understand the question. Olga, you?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure because, I mean, in a way, I work with things that, you always find a way to work with stuff that you already have. And if I need a plugin, I'll just do a research. I go to the WordPress.org. If there is nothing that looks good enough or something that I need, I go to Code Canyon, or I ask in a Facebook group what they use for it. So, so far I never came across a sort of challenge that I had to do something on a website that I was not able to find a plugin for it yet. So, yeah. I don't know, Robert, does that answer your question?
I think Robert's itching to build something, and he just wants to find out what. Yep. He's itching for a product. Oh, man. Let's see here. I would... Let's see. Let's go through the list. I know I've missed some questions here. I know a few of you got, hey, if anybody, I know we're way over, it's an hour and a half. I don't mind hanging on here a little bit longer, as long as you guys keep throwing us questions. I don't know if Olga's got to get going soon. You let us know, Olga, okay, if you got to wrap it up. And
well, look, I can hang out a little bit more. That doesn't bother me.
Okay, great. So if anybody else has got to go, we understand. So don't feel bad.
I mean, it's only 10 o'clock for me, well, 10:20. But I know that for lots of you guys, it's either too late or too early, so yeah. I can find.
Great, awesome. Maybe next time you can schedule some other time. Yeah, we're Craig. Yeah, we're going to keep figuring out the schedule thing. We'll just keep moving it around, and it's hard to get everybody, but yeah.
Well, I can see that lots of people like a different time, which kind of gives me impressions, and lots of people probably would like to wrap it up now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Maybe we can say we'll go to 5:30. Give it another few minutes, and then we'll wrap it up so we can all head out. Does that sound good, Olga?
Sounds great.
Okay, great. Yeah, it is wonderful chatting with you and having the community in here. And I see a question there that was Imran. I think this is a good question. Craig answered it for us. How do you ensure that you don't get distracted when working from home? Olga, I'll let you go first.
Oh, okay. Well, I do have my home office, and once my husband goes to work very early, and I take kids to school. Both of them are at school, thank goodness. So once I came home, it's just me and the cat and two dogs, and they're pretty quiet. So as soon as I turned the Facebook off and I turned the email off, I can work. I don't get too much distraction really, unless occasional phone call from a client or if I need to make a phone call. And I mean, that's actually part of the business, so it's not a real distraction. But yeah, I'm pretty good at keeping distraction away. The challenge for me is when kids are on school holidays, because as a mom, I feel like I like to go and spend time with them and doing fun, like going to movies or having their friends over for a play dates and taking them to the park, to the beach, anywhere. And that makes the day not very productive. But once school holiday is over, it's always nice to get back. Like, I'm a routine person, I like my routine, and I stick to it. And when I'm not in a routine, I miss it.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I like that. Sarah, don't go on Facebook. Yeah, exactly. That's probably my biggest distraction is Facebook. For me, I have I work from home as well in the home office, and we homeschool. I have a 5 and 7-year-old boys, and my wife teaches them at home. So we got 2 dogs that bark at every large truck that drives by. So I would say I have yet to figure out the art of keeping from being distracted. I close the door and I put on my headphones, but it's definitely a challenge. Headphones and a sign on the door that says, please do not disturb, and an air conditioner because it gets too hot in the room.
Oh, it's hot here as well, trust me. Really, I do the same. Really said that sometimes you forget to eat. I have done so many times.
Right. It's interesting when you're doing a project you really love and you're coding that you can go almost all day, right, and forget and not realize. But what about when you're doing a job or a task you hate? Do you find yourself more hungry than often and wanting to take breaks more often?
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't matter if it's a project I hate or I love. I do have a block of chocolate next to me. Cold, and then I just go and make another hot one, and have a couple sips, and then it goes cold again. But that's how we're all here. Yeah, the project that you don't like so much, yeah, I do tend to, making it a bit better by listening to music at the same time, or just really just try to get into it. Thinking about the paycheck at the end of the work project also helps.
Yes, yes, yes. On that note, what kind of music do you listen to when you're coding?
Well, mostly actually, I like to code in a quiet, but every now and then when I do feel like I need music or something, all sorts of stuff. It's never the same. My kids listen to a song. I think it's called 921 Pilot or 9 Pilot. It's a kind of like popular song at the moment. It's #1 and #2 hit, at least in Australia. Let me just give me a sec. So it is 21 Pilot called Stressed Out. In a car on a radio. I didn't like it, but because my kids liked it and they listened to it so much, it's kind of grown on me. So I drive it one day, I put it on autoplay and I listened to it probably 6 times. And I probably listened to it about 6 times. I was quite happy to listen for the next 6 times. I just listen to anything. Every day it's different.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll get bored with music, but I do gotta have it on all the time. Craig, the Essential Simon and Garfunkel. There you go. Yeah, I would say for the most time I have just kind of like casual music going, typical radio kids or something like that, and then I have my go-to radio station. So like if I'm starting to feel burnt out on work, I have my sort of Beach Boys, Jack Johnson, some Hawaiian influence type playlist going on that makes me feel like I'm at the beach. And if I'm really in a struggle and I need to get a project done and I got to stay up late, wake up, I put on my Led Zeppelin channel or some hard rock and then there's just those times when I got to listen to some reggae and just sit back and try to get creative.
Actually, my kids, both of them, they like to play Minecraft. And that is the one thing I say about the Minecraft. They've got a very nice background music.
Oh, do they?
When I'm on a computer, I really enjoy it.
That's cool.
That's kind of like, you almost can meditate to it. And it's playing on and on, but it's a kind of tune that you just don't get sick of it.
That's cool. Minecraft, huh? Terry, Minecraft is my background music right this second. Wow, that's cool. That's cool. My kids aren't there yet, but.
How old are your kids, Jenna?
5 and 7.
Oh yes. Well, you probably only got a couple years.
Yeah, I think I do. They know about it. They just don't have it on their Kindle yet. we still manage to keep them on the. We have the Kindle with the Amazon Kids sort of protection subscription, so they only allow certain education and certain games, and it's kind of monitored. So we're trying to stretch that out as long as possible. Cool. Well, it's 5:30, and we should probably start wrapping this up. Olga, would you like to share anything before we close? Is there anything you want to say? Any word of encouragement you give to people in this group?
Oh, well, not sure. The one thing that I probably will say that what kind of stick with me that the way I work is just do a good quality work. That's the one that works for me. And when you do a job in a small community with small businesses, that's actually very important. No, just keep, never give up, just always keep trying. That's always my encouragement for everyone, including myself. Just keep going on.
Yes,
And
exactly.
if you know there is always going to be tomorrow, which is going to be much better. But look, I just want to say that, thanks guys for actually coming on board today. And it was nerve-wracking, but yes, thanks to Jenna, thanks to you, Jenna. You actually make everyone feel very comfortable around. So.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks, Olga. It's you're easy. You're very. It's great chatting with you. We all have so much in common. I think it's easy for all of us.
Yes, with the noise. This is a very nice. I look at the names, and most of the people I know, and it's so nice. To be in this nice community when everyone is so similar. I feel like we're all in the same box.
Yeah, right. It's like makes it easier to work from home. Like we have our own community still.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So all I can say is just thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. As much as I was nervous, I knew that this is an opportunity that I can't just let go and give it a miss.
Awesome. Well, one last thing. I'm sure everybody wants to hear. I hear you have a child theme coming up. Your first child theme, huh?
The other one of the goals that I have quite a few, was actually making child themes. I did one during Christmas break. I had a bit of more time and I did created one, but I never packaged it. So it's coming, but I can't give you exact deadline when it's actually going to come out.
Of course. I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but I thought it would be exciting for people to know that you're about to jump into the premium child theme market, and they're all going to be hearing a lot more about you in the coming weeks and months.
Oh, thank you. No, I would love to. Child marketing is something that I looked to, and I see that lots of people doing so successfully. And I really like it. I think it's a great idea. And such a nice opportunity with Divi that you can actually build it. You can't use any other thing. I mean, well, really you can, but Divi is just different and makes it so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know you got your day ahead of you, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who stuck in here with us the whole time, encouraged us, and you guys, everyone here is an encouragement. I want to say thank you to you, Olga, for doing this, and it's just been a blessing and a pleasure to get to know you, and for 2 days now, get to hear your story and your thoughts. Thank you for everybody, all of you, Sarah, Ree, Cheryl, Ben, Craig, Imran, Jay, John, Tammy, and the folks that have jumped out. Thank you guys for participating. And we don't know what's going to happen, like with the next one. I don't know if I'm going to host it or if we're going to have another guest host and another guest moderator, but we'll keep you guys all updated, and we're going to try to do this every Friday. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we'll see you all again next Friday. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Olga. Appreciate you doing this with me.
Oh, thank you, Jenna. That was a blast. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in the Facebook groups.
Yeah, see you later, guys.
Cheers.